Hello and welcome to our podcast. My name is Natasha.
And my name's Lauren.
Join us as we discuss all things Neighbours.
And it's unfinished business.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us. This is our Christmas episode and we are sporting our Christmas jumpers. What jumper are you wearing, Lauren?
I am wearing a very glittery, Christmas tree one. Believe it or not, I've actually worn a different Christmas jumper every single day this week.
Mm-hmm.
I've got so many. I've got so many. What about you? What are you wearing?
Well, kind of similar. So mine's just one Christmas tree, but
yeah,
it's a sequiny, colourful
that's cool.
Christmas jumper. So yeah, like you, I haven't actually started wearing all of my Christmas jumpers, but I do have enough to wear for the rest of the week. So yeah, I'll be doing that. Don't need to think about a uniform or, don't
this is the
what I'm
thing.
wearing.
Honestly,
it's my uniform.
Yeah, I've been at work this week. Obviously, I work with kids, so every day I've been wearing a different Christmas jumper. So they've been coming in going, "Oh, look at your jumper." So yeah, that's why. But honestly, it's crazy. I actually can't believe this year is nearly over.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how lucky are we ending this year? With our favourite soap being back on our screens.
Yeah, I mean, we've had an amazing year, haven't we? Like the Neighbours celebration tour, and all the other meet and greets that we've done. We've met so many of the cast this year, haven't we?
Like so many of the cast. I mean, it's really been like a Neighbours year for us, and it's been so much fun. I mean, we can't wait for 2024 and to see, what's in store for us.
Yeah, definitely. And also for the first time in 4 years, we actually get a Christmas Day episode.
I know. Oh my God. Do you know what? That's actually quite a surprise. You text me telling me and I was like, oh my God, yeah. Do you know what? I'm looking forward to that, Christmas Day cliffhanger.
Yes, well, we're hoping, but I guess we'll talk about that later. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we actually have to talk about what we have planned for this episode.
We do. So we're going to be discussing episodes, obviously, from the last 2 weeks, like always. But also we're going to be running through what a Christmas looks like in Ramsay Street, through the ages. So we're actually going to be spanning this across 10 years, going back as far as 2012.
Let's get started then. What are you thinking about the latest episodes?
Well, I mean, I've only just caught up on the last 3, I think, in the last sort of hour and a half I've been sat here. Again, there's a lot going on. They seem to have moved away a little bit from the whole Mel storyline. I mean, at the start of last week there was a bit, because obviously she moved back onto the street after Therese was come and live with Susan and Carl, whatever. And there's obviously that awkward confrontation, obviously, outside, where Nell runs over and Toadie literally doesn't make eye contact with her. Obviously just the whole awkwardness around that, and Therese is starting to feel like, oh, shit, I shouldn't have suggested that she move back, and is confiding in Wendy, and reliving, I suppose, old stuff that happened to her years ago. It was nice to hear that, actually, to hear her mention about Brad and Lauren and stuff. So just the whole awkwardness around that and stuff.
I mean, we saw the clip, the teaser from the Neighbours official account, the whole sweeping up the confetti. And I have heard online that there's a little bit of a theory that Nell's actually on purpose dropping all of the confetti, like she's got a collection of it somewhere. And she's just randomly dropping it as a reminder, because to be fair, 2 years on, you shouldn't really be seeing any confetti.
I know, it's really weird.
So one piece maybe, but it was about 2 or 3 pieces, and it's like, okay, something's going on here. That would be a really good little twist. I'd enjoy that.
It's a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit odd. Yeah.
I mean, going back to now, they clearly want us to know that she's now 15 with the massive balloons.
So weird.
I am 15. that whole buddy party, and then, like, you know, Mel trying to outdo Therese with the present, and then Therese, but actually now actually really liking the present that
Mhm,
Therese got
mhm.
her, and that was quite nice to see that she's actually starting to warm to Therese a
Yeah.
little bit. But then obviously you've got the whole scene where they're at the beach and Mel and Toadie are together, and Therese obviously sees it.
Mhm.
He, and then him being like, "But no, no, it wasn't anything. I was still so in love with you." And it's like, oh my God, who are you trying to kid?
I know. There's too many declarations. I'm just kinda getting a bit peed off with it, and,
Yeah.
I think the storyline is definitely gonna be around this. I mean, the last episode with Therese really going at it, I mean, to the point where I thought she was being really harsh to
Mm,
him, to Paul.
yeah.
You know, "You're just a lonely old man, I'm gonna have loads of people that love me around me, and you're gonna have no one." And I just thought, I know he's an a-hole, but at the same time, you don't have to step down to that level.
I
If
know.
you are as happy as you say you are, then you should literally go, because she literally said, "I'm not gonna let you ruin my day."
Yeah.
But then all of that venom that came out of her mouth, and I was like, like, I know, again, it's kind of meddling. It's Paul meddling again with the whole, bribing whoever and whatever his name is, um, you know, for the council/school, the council meeting, and,
Yeah.
getting him on board. But, like, yes, he's meddling, but at the same time, like, you've got what you wanted.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't think they would have had a chance
No.
if that didn't happen. So,
Yeah.
yes, okay, it's meddling, and yes, it's wrong, and yes, it's a little bit corrupt, but,
I
you
mean,
know
come on, this is Paul Robinson. When's he not gonna
exactly.
meddle in
And
something?
that's what I loved about all of that, is that I feel like the only person really that's really being truly them, as the characters we knew them before, um, Neighbours ended, is
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
He's still keeping to his character. He's still meddling. He's still, trying to get back to his family. Another side note, Dave is really getting on my nerves. Really
Yeah.
getting on my nerves. The fact that, you know, Aaron is feeling sorry for Paul.
Yeah. And
Like,
then
he just wants to spend time with his grandchildren. That's all he wants to do.
yeah. I honestly, I felt so, so sorry for him in these last 2 weeks, these episodes. Like, the absolute delight on his face when he knew that he was
Mhm,
gonna see Isla and Abby,
mhm,
that they were gonna come and sit on Santa's lap and stuff. And it was just
mhm,
they were really, really sweet moments. And
mhm.
obviously Paul is at his best when he's surrounded by his family,
Yep.
and it's just, yeah, it's like, oh, come on, David, like everybody else has moved on. Like, don't deprive Paul of like
But also
y
David has really nice qualities,
yeah,
and, this side of him, I just, yes, we've seen it before. And yes, it's his negative sides, it's his flaws, but at the same time, I feel like he's going too far. Like,
yeah.
they've now moved the fact that he's adamant calling him Paul, Paul, Paul rather than Dad.
It
I'm
just
like,
sounds
it's
like
just so weird, because you can still,
yeah,
even if you're not talking to him, you can still call him your dad.
yeah, it sounds unnatural when he says it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it just yeah, it
I
seems
don't know.
like he's being the actor and not being the character, and like, it's like he's accidentally saying Paul instead of sorry, he's saying Paul instead of Dad, and it's just yeah, it sounds
I mean, I
really
kind of get it. I mean, before, like, when he first found out that Paul was his dad and stuff, like, his boundaries, he had none,
mm,
right? And he would be swayed every which way. And then obviously all of the crap happened, and Paul just keeps on making mistakes as he always does. And I get that David's had enough. He doesn't want to put up with it anymore, and he needs to. But I feel like he's being too extreme. Like, you can still have your boundaries up and tell your dad no, but still have a relationship with your dad. You
yeah,
know, I just feel like we will end up seeing it coming back to the middle again, and
yeah,
they will end up talking again, because you can't really avoid each other when you've moved back to Ramsay Street, like,
no. There's gonna be a scenario, it's gonna be something that happens that's gonna bring them back
yeah,
to being, fine with each other again.
yeah.
And I think Leo might have a influence on that. Like, he started to get involved a little bit more now in certain situations.
It's actually nice to see Leo.
Yeah, like, he's done quite a bit the last 2 weeks with the whole, like, Krista and stuff.
And that's definitely gonna, I think he's potentially gonna get with Krista.
Yeah, like, it was pretty obvious when she walked in that he was, like, you know, catching feelings or whatever, and I was just
Tim actually liked my comment on I said, at Tim Kano, pick your drawer up from the floor.
I can see that. That's hilarious.
It was just like,
oh my God, like, talking of Leo, like, this fucking scar he's got on his head.
yeah.
That, like, he was like, "Oh, yeah, I got it from, like, a barrel or something." I had to go back and look at his Instagram and look, because I thought it was for the show, and then I looked and I was like, "Oh my God, he actually does." But it appears from from July of this year. He obviously had an actual accident in real life, and they've obviously had to put it into the show to explain why he suddenly now got a scar on his head.
Well, it's like when Carl didn't have any hair.
Yeah.
In 2020.
They had to just be like, "Oh, yeah."
You have to address it.
Yeah. So, you're gonna hate this now because I don't want to give her airtime, but basically, obviously, you know what I'm gonna say? I can see your face already.
Oh, that one.
So her, obviously, but it's relating to obviously Chloe having Huntington symptoms, and obviously now, you know, being in denial about it, but oh my God, like, how awkward is, like, Ellie with her? Like, there literally is, like, no chemistry. Their kisses are like little. It's just,
well, the World Wide Web, all the fans have been saying it's like kissing your nan. That's the kind of kiss it was.
Like, I get it. Obviously, they don't love each other in real life. They are actors, but like,
yeah, but Ellie and Aaron.
But that's what I mean. Them kissing.
They're both straight, and you know they've so got the chemistry. Like,
it's just like they just don't work, those two together. I was like begging Chloe to actually get back with Nicolette at one point. I fucking hated
so good.
I hated their relationship in the original, like when they were together originally. But now I'm like, oh, do you know what? She actually knows she needs to be with Nicolette and not with Ellie.
Yep, the chemistry's there. But the chemistry was there before with Charlotte and with the new actress. There's still chemistry. There's way more chemistry.
Really like the new actress.
I've never seen the attraction between Ellie and Chloe. Like, I know I don't like Ellie, but I can't say, well, at least, you know, they've got really hot chemistry. Like, they don't. They've never had it.
No. Yeah.
But anyway, if you think about it, it's because they started as an affair.
Yeah.
They started off because Ellie was with Mark.
Yeah.
Her brother, Chloe's brother. So I think, you know, that started from an affair. I just don't think anything's there. I don't know. I just think, I don't know, whatever.
Or maybe the actors just can't commit to their role.
Maybe just one. I don't know.
Yeah, but obviously now we're gonna no, you can't be mean. You can't be very mean about Jodie, you know. What was I gonna say? Yeah, obviously this is now gonna lead to like another like on screen you know, gay wedding or whatever. So which is good for them. It's good to show it, and there's a new character coming in as well. That's South Asian gay woman has his sister, isn't it? So that'll be interesting. So getting a bit more diverse on Old Neighbours.
I think that'll be interesting because it's also the complications that come from coming from South Asia and having a South Asian family, and how reserved that is and how that's going to play out. So I think that's really interesting.
I want to pick up on the point of, we were talking about the last 2 episodes we've done about there being not much comedy factor, but I have to say, Carl Kennedy, these last 2 weeks, we've had a few times where I'm like, yes, the comedy's back, and Susan has been like,
a little bit of quips here and there,
rolling her eyes at him, being like, oh my God, for God's sake, here we go again.
Yeah, it's still not full blown though, is it? It's like little hints here and there, you know, like, and actually wasn't it? I don't think we've actually included this in the script, but haven't we hit one of the predictions?
What was
Well,
the a
who's
joke? Was
having a
it
joke at Carl's
at Carl's
expense?
expense?
Because
Well,
it
who
was
is
Susan,
that?
wasn't it?
What did she say? I can't remember.
She said something like, because they were joking about Mel moving in. Oh no, actually it was Paul, wasn't it? Paul said something like, "Oh, you're not really going to recover being around him singing and whatever."
Yeah, we
That
have.
is that not right? So we've
Yeah, we have.
basically hit
But
like
I don't think any of the first of one have got any points though. That wasn't our answers, I don't
I'm
think.
not sure. Let's scroll back on the script.
You've got to
I ha-
find it now. You're like,
I
where
have
is
to
it?
find it. So what was it? It was, oh no, we have to scroll back further than that. Have to add this in. Who will be the first to make a joke at Carl's expense? So the fans answered Susan.
Yeah,
I answered Toadie, and you answered Toadie.
yeah.
So actually, it was
Why did we say Toadie? I suppose they spend quite a lot
because
of
they
time
were
together.
they were having a lot of comedy together, so
Yeah.
they've not really been spending much time in scenes. So yeah, the scores are still the same.
I'm still winning.
But yeah, moving on. I wanted to talk about the whole Holly has
Oh,
Mackenzie
God, I
situation.
literally was gonna say this is my next thing I wanted to speak about.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's very clear that has just started getting jealous when he thought that she slept with Byron.
But I have to admit,
Mm.
I actually quite liked Byron and Mac together.
That seemed like a really good couple.
Yeah.
But I just think that they Has and Mackenzie just so click. I just can't
Mm.
believe, like, I was loving Holly up until this point, even when she was being a bit insecure and whatever. But the last straw, which was like destroying the scarf,
Yeah.
that was bad. But then blaming Trevor.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you do not blame an animal because they can't speak, they can't defend
Yeah.
themselves. So do not
Yeah.
blame an animal, a dog, for something that you've done. Yes, she was going to apologize, but then and come out with it, but then obviously has found out from the camera.
Yeah.
Stupid. Um, but no, like Holly's really gone down. That was a very Izzy
She's
move.
just too intense.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like, how long have you been with him?
But
Like,
also
you're meant to just be having a bit of fun, and you're saying that you bloody love the guy.
Well, also like the koala Christmas jumpers, the green
Oh
jumpers,
god,
which
yeah.
are actually on Amazon for about 30 quid if you want one. Did check, and I was going to buy one and wear one for this episode,
I
but I
love
thought, no, that's just too much, a waste of money. No, I've got enough Christmas jumpers.
that.
Um, but no, all of that, where like buying the same jumpers, and he was like, yeah, oh, our first Christmas together. What? You've been together all of a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and oh my god, and her like hinting at when they're at that stall at the Christmas market or whatever it was, be it fair, being like, "Are those earrings?"
Just so
And then
awkward.
he'd be like, "Oh, I'll buy them for you." I'm like, "Oh, honestly,
So
like,
awkward.
yeah, no, it needs to be done with now. We need a new year, and we need Mac and Has to just get together and just
Well, you
sort
can
this
just
out."
tell like Haz is so chill and
Yeah,
Mac is so chill.
yeah,
They're just vibing. They're just like, you know, I feel like Mackenzie is old for her years and she's always been that way. She's always
yeah,
been very mature, even when she was at school. And I just feel like, Holly's just she's a fun girl, don't get me wrong, but she should be with someone who likes to go out, have a laugh, whereas
but
Haz is just really settled.
have you seen the where it says coming up on Neighbours? Richie turns up at the
Yeah, but that's gonna be
party.
a way of going, "Oh, I'm jealous. I wanna get with you." It's kind of like bringing it up again
Yeah,
as his
yeah, yeah,
feelings because he's already gone no and dumbing it down. Even if he breaks up with Holly, you still need something else to bring that
yeah,
energy
yeah,
and that
yeah,
tension back.
yeah. No,
So, mm.
yeah, I was getting really, really annoyed. And poor Sadie, I feel like she's literally just stuck in the middle,
Where
but she's being
when
like
will
a
she
rude.
get a man?
I know she's being a good friend in supporting
Yeah.
them, but like, oh my god! And I wrote this down actually. The comment that she said, this made me laugh, where she said, She kept repeating it to get into Mac's head. Knitting something to wrap around the body you're hot for. And she just kept saying it over again. Just like, Mac, knitting something. Like, and I was just like, oh, Sadie, you're a good friend, but you're like completely in the middle of all this.
Yeah, no,
But yeah,
I think she deserves to like go on a date. Like her parents are fine now, so they're kind
yeah,
of like made
that
up.
was good. That was
That was
good. They
really
did.
good.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I just think she's gonna end up getting burnt by being in the middle because she's
yeah.
friends with Holly, she's friends with Haz, she's friends with Mac, and it's just like, in a way, like, I mean, didn't Sadie tell Holly that Mac was into Haz? Was that where Holly found
I
out?
got really confused then because yeah, Holly said that she was like, I know that Mac likes Has, and I was like,
No, because
how does she know
I know
that?
that there was a conversation between Holly and Mac, right?
Yeah,
About, oh my God, if you like Haz, I won't go there. And she
yeah,
goes, no, I'm not ready to go there. Like, I'm not ready to date. And
yeah,
it's bad for me to actually hold anyone back just
yeah,
because he's not reserved for me.
yeah,
Um, so that's what happened there. But I don't know how Holly found out. I can't remember how Holly found out in order to have that conversation with Mac.
yeah,
I'm assuming it came from Sadie.
yeah. Weird. No, I can't remember when she said it. I was really confused. I was like, did
Yeah.
that conversation happen? Don't remember
Yeah.
that. But yeah, the last point I want to focus on is how do you feel about the whole like Remy being really off with David because obviously she's found out that he's a deregistered doctor?
It's none of her business really. Like I don't know what her deal is. Like if he's been deregistered, his involvement with Krista is literally non-medical. So
But I think she might try and cause some issues for him. I think
but
I don't,
unless he's trying to get his job back as a doctor,
yeah,
what's
which he can't. So
yeah, so I'm not sure why.
yeah, I don't know. I've just seen a different side to Remy in the last few episodes, and I'm a bit kind of like, don't know. I like you.
I'm not really sure why. I mean, I haven't really been paying too much attention to that. I think there's so much going on. Like,
Yeah,
definitely these 2 weeks have just been so much, so
yeah,
much, so many different avenues, and they're obviously gearing up towards a great Christmas Day episode.
yeah.
Um, but it just, yeah, that was kind of like, obviously it was a storyline
Mm,
over the last 2 weeks, but it hasn't been one of the forefront ones. So I haven't
yeah.
really been giving too much thought on it.
No. Yeah, we kind of haven't really focused on the Falcon Murphys in the last 2 weeks, have we? Kind of
No.
saw little snippets of them, but it's like you can't involve everybody at the same time. It, like you said, there's so much going on
Mm,
already. If you try to make a storyline with them as well, it would just be like, whoa, there's far too much.
mhm. Definitely.
Yeah.
So now for our new segment, we will be discussing all the Christmas storylines the show offered us over the past 10 years or so.
Yes, and we're going to be starting in 2012 and going through to 2021 because the show actually ended in the summer of 2022, so we
Mhm.
never actually got any Christmas episodes that year. So that's a real shame, isn't it, guys? But
Mhm.
so yes,
Did you want to kick things off in 2012?
can indeed. So in 2012, we never actually got Christmas Day. But we did see Ramsay Street, celebrating early. So the Cannings had an early Christmas dinner, which saw things, heating up a little bit between Kyle and Georgia. But then, obviously, Georgia's boyfriend, Scotty, turns up and obviously spoils the fun. Susan's sister, Carmel, was visiting and was crushing hard on Susan and Carl were obviously divorced at this point, but it obviously still was very, very weird. Also, do you remember Paul had an affair with Priya?
Mhm.
There was a lot of tension between the Robinsons and the Kapoors at this moment in time. But the big cliffhanger at the end of the year was that Vanessa and Sonia gave birth at the same time
Mhm.
to Patrick and Nell.
Mhm.
What are the chances of that, hey? Vanessa's labour went swimmingly and everything was fine with her, but Sonia had to be rushed to hospital as her and the baby's life was in danger.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, so moving on to 2013, I love those episodes.
Yeah,
So it was all about Jem. I don't know if you
yeah,
remember Toadie and Georgia's crazy cousin.
I do.
Um, Jem and Georgia, they go away to a holiday cottage. Matt Turner is trying to get through to Georgia on her mobile to tell her that it was actually Jem who hacked into Kate's emails. I don't know if you remember, it was the emails where Kate declared her feelings for Kyle,
I
and it
do
kind of
indeed.
to Kyle and Georgia's engagement.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jem, she's just acting really super weird, and Georgia is suspecting that something's up.
Mm,
Georgia finally has a chance to rifle through Jem's bag and sees all of her missed calls on her phone. So she finds out Jem's actually taken her phone. She also sees a text from Toadie saying that it actually was Jem that hacked into Kate's emails, and she confronts Jem. At this point, Jem grabs Georgia by the arm and knocks her back onto the oven, and that knocks the gas on the hob too.
yeah.
Georgia's unconscious, lying there with the gas on, and Jem legs it, leaving her there. I mean, can you believe it? What a bitch.
I
Um,
know. What a
yeah,
cow. Like, would your cousin do that to you?
honestly. So anyway, this was also the episode where Lauren's secret comes out. She confides in Lucy
Yeah,
about her and Brad having a child together before Matt and her had Mason.
yeah.
So yeah, it was quite an eventful Christmas.
Very eventful. Very eventful. So moving on to 2014, we see Matt arrest Brad for the assault on Ezra Hanley. Now, this is the guy that obviously accosted Therese in his hotel room.
Hmm.
But obviously, we later find out that it was actually Gary that
Mm.
assaulted him. And then Paul has actually paid Gary to rough him up a bit because he cares for Therese.
Mm.
Meanwhile, Amber and Daniel are engaged, but we see Imogen kiss Daniel, and Amber calls off the engagement and tells him she needs a break. We are also left with Sheila collapsing on the floor yet again after talking to Gary, which we later find out she's had a heart attack. I mean, actually, is that the
Yeah.
first time she
It was the
collapses?
first
I
time,
think it
yeah.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, that's when the storyline was introduced.
yeah,
So yeah, in 2015, we see Daniel telling Imogen that Paul bribed Sue Parker to secure
yeah.
the freestyle development. But then also Imogen, because she's such a goody two shoes, she goes straight to the police and tells them, which lands Paul and Lassiter's in a very sticky situation.
Mhm.
Sue Parker ends up with corruption charges because of it, and Paul also gets fired from Lassiter's, and we see Therese being appointed. There was also Belinda, Steph's girlfriend, the nurse,
Yeah.
who thought Toadie wanted Steph back, so was being all paranoid, accusing Toadie of things. Toadie was also in a wheelchair. If you remember the bouncy castle accident
I
at Neil's
do.
party, I mean, it's really weird. Strange
Bouncing off.
situation, but yeah, he's left in a wheelchair. And at the end of 2015, he's seen going into surgery for important surgery on his back.
Hmm. Yeah, that was an interesting storyline. So in 2016, again, we didn't really get any kind of specific Christmassy storylines. Instead, there were like summer storylines, also known as Christmas Crackers. That was a webisode series broadcast that aired during the Christmas period to kind of fill the gap between Christmas and New Year.
Hmm.
Episodes were about 2 minutes long and released online, I think, on their YouTube channel. So these were the storylines. So number one, we had Felix. It's not at for you, but you've put Felix. His name's not Felix.
Sorry.
His name's Ben. So Ben and Xanthi's relationship issues after Xanthi's mother scammed Carl, which is his grandfather, Ben's grandfather, sorry. Number two is we see Amy's attempt at dating. Number three, Carl receives help from Paul with cooking Christmas lunch.
Mm.
I mean, we can only imagine how that went down. Piper and Tyler, number four, are planning to spend New Year's Eve together, even though they're keeping their relationship secret. And number five, the most important story of these webisodes, we see Toadie being told that he is dead. Oh, sorry.
He's not dead.
Sorry. His wife, Dee, sorry, who I need to reread this again. Sorry. That we see Tony being told that his dead wife, Dee, there we go, could still be alive after 13 years. We got there
I mean,
eventually.
wow, that's a storyline I didn't see coming.
When I
I don't
read that,
remember
I was
Toadie
like,
being dead.
hang on a minute, Tony's dead. Oh, honestly. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so yeah, moving on. In 2017, we see Tyler being accused of killing Hamish.
Yeah.
We also see Paige and Piper trying to prove Tyler's innocence, but to no avail.
Mhm.
We also see Sonia and Tony doing a vow renewal, which was very much needed with all the storylines that happened.
Yeah.
We also see Gabe being kidnapped, which starts to search for who would actually want to kidnap Gabe.
Yeah.
And this is also particularly worrying because Gabe hasn't been that well. So, if they don't actually get him back, like what could happen to him? He could die.
I
So
do
yeah, that was
remember that.
quite scary.
I remember that very well. So moving on to 2018, bit of a mixed bag here in this one. So Delaney Renshaw, she is the one that we wanted to get, her clutches in on Leo, the blonde young girl.
Hmm.
She has claimed that Paul has killed her brother Mannix. Is it a brother?
Yeah, I think it was her brother.
Oh, I
I
thought it was
think
just
so.
I think it was just a friend that
I mean, I can't really
worked in the
remember.
family. Anyway, Paul claims that Paul has killed Mannix anyway, and we see that Paul is quite frantic,
Hmm.
and he goes to search for the body. And I don't
Hmm.
know if you remember during this time he crashes and has like flashbacks of his
Hmm.
dad telling him that he needs to
Yeah.
change his ways, etc.
Hmm.
So Sean, Finn's brother, reveals to Susan Finn's childhood and why he might be the way that he is. He was once held hostage for
Hmm.
8 months, so maybe experiencing some form of PTSD. Dippy has also predicted that someone close to her is going to die, and it all gets us thinking, who it's going to be. Dippy also gets attacked and ends up unconscious, and it was Gary that did it by accident. So Erinsborough is feeling very Christmassy too, as Christmas concert is held, starring B. Nielsen. And I think at this point, Sonia's just come out of hospital, I think, after being poisoned by
Hmm.
um what's her name? Heather.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and they Christmas concert, make everyone happy. Yeah.
I think that was probably in all of these episodes, the first time they made Christmas very obvious by doing that
Yeah.
concert.
I mean, I've been
Actually doing
watching it
something special.
recently. I said to you, didn't I? I've just watched the 2018 Christmas
Yeah.
episode. So yeah.
Um, so in 2019, we've got Paul's son, Robert. He escapes hospital. So he was actually released from prison as he was a donor match for David because David needed a kidney transplant. And he ended up escaping hospital. Robert went on the run. He ends up back at Ramsey Street. He goes into the Kennedys, keeps Ellie hostage. Obviously, Ellie is pregnant with Asta now,
Yeah.
and she ends up going into labour. But Finn ends up coming in, finding Ellie, and helps to deliver Asta. So that's kind of a beautiful storyline. Meanwhile, David's life is hanging by a thread as he's in desperate need of the kidney, but Robert's gone off with the kidney.
Yeah.
We also see Ned and Yashvi get together, which was a long, long time coming. So finally, that actually happened.
Yeah, because it's very on and then off and then
Hmm.
back on again. So like, yes, finally. So moving on to 2020. So Shane and Amy. So Amy's come in, old Amy, and they're getting very close. But this is after Dippy has had an affair with Pierce. We also see Clive and Jane sneaking around after getting very drunk at a Christmas party.
Hmm.
This is when their relationship starts.
Hmm.
And Jay, which is the son of Dippy and Shane, has come back and has got Hendrix into quite a bit of trouble with their illegal poker game that they were holding at the Brennan's house.
I remember
Yeah.
all of that.
Oh dear, dear, dear.
Um, so yeah, and in 2021, Therese's alcohol addiction relapses,
Yeah.
and we see her nearly falling off the terrace at Leicester's, basically
Hmm.
holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
That was actually after Harlow was having a bit of a chat with her, asking her to come down, and then she must have given up, and then Therese falls off.
Yeah.
And we also see the big reveal as Harlow finds out that Glenn is indeed Paul's brother.
Yeah.
Because she had already up until that point been a bit thinking he was a bit shady, like, what's your game? And she wanted to know what kind of secrets he had, and obviously that's
Yeah.
a big secret.
Well,
But yeah.
yeah, you're dating, the person that I used to be in a relationship with.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
dating your
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Bit strange. Yeah, anyway. So there's been a lot of drama at Christmas time, hasn't there?
Yeah, lots of drama, and that's only in 10 years of the show.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've covered a lot today. I think it's
Yeah.
time that we wrap up this episode now. So,
Mhm.
was there anything else that you wanted to, update the listeners on today?
Yeah, as it's a Christmas episode, I thought we should remind everyone that Alan Fletcher's, aka Carl Kennedy, aka My Soap Dad, has brought out a single for this Christmas called It's Gonna Be a Good Christmas. And that's featuring Melody Moko. So if you haven't added it to your playlist, then you should. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, etc. And you can also get your hands on a physical copy by visiting alanfletcher.net. You can also pick up some cool merch whilst you're there.
Sounds great. I mean, did you buy any Alan merch for Christmas?
No,
Why not? I thought you were like his biggest fan.
because I've already picked up all of his merch.
Oh dear Lord. Oh dear Lord. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us for this Christmas episode.
Yeah, we hope you watch the Christmas Day episode over mince pies.
Yes, or turkey, either or, whatever your
Whatever.
Yeah, so thank you so much, obviously, you wonderful listeners. We really have appreciated each and every one of you this year for joining us on this new adventure. So, Merry Christmas from us, and we want to wish you all a very happy new year, and we will see you in 2024. Bye, guys.
Bye. Merry Christmas.